Hey everybody, it's the Trout, and welcome to another episode of the Trout Show. Thank you so much for stopping by. You know, I want you to think back when you turned 16 years old. What were you doing on your 16th birthday? Most of us are thinking about getting in our car that we can now drive because we had our driver's license. But I don't think we were thinking about what this next guest today was thinking about. Releasing your first single. Unbelievable. So I had the opportunity to interview a great up-and-coming artist. His name is Danny Garwood. He just turned 16, and for his 16th birthday, he released his first single, and now he's releasing his first album. Now, Danny hails out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I got to meet him a couple years ago when he first hit the scene. And his playing has gotten better and better, and he is a phenomenal player, and I think we're going to hear a lot from Danny. So, you want to know the story about what a 16-year-old does on their 16th birthday and how they write a song and go and record and go on tour? Sit back and listen to this episode of The Trout Show, because Danny Garwood, the phenomenal 16-year-old blues guitarist story, is up next on The Trout Show. You know, there are times in our life when we come across financial problems that we just don't know what to do. I had a friend recently have a relative of his pass away and left him a large sum of money. He said, what do I do with this? I don't know how to handle it. Well, I've got just the kind of person that you need to talk to if you're in this situation yourself, and that's David Smith with Edward Jones. David can help you look at your situation and provide you expertise that he's done for years. So if you're located in the continental United States, reach out to David Smith with Edward Jones at 469-372-1587. Don't tackle these situations by yourself. Get a hold of someone that can provide you the expertise that will help you make decisions that are important to your financial situation. So don't forget, call David Smith, 469-372-1587, for all the financial assistance that you may come across. David Smith with Edward Jones. How long have you been wanting to go to the studio and actually put down, really, you've been to studio before, haven't you?
Sweetwater was the first time I experienced the studio.
Okay. So for people that don't know what that means, tell them what Sweetwater is.
So Sweetwater they have recording studios. It's a lot of the gear that people get is from Sweetwater. So like the straps I have, the strap locks, I all get from Sweetwater. That's probably the place I recommend the most to get stuff from.
Oh, I love them. I love them. I bought stuff from them
great,
before.
yeah.
It's a great company, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I've been there three or four times now.
So they have a location there, but they also, and I've heard other people said they've recorded there. So they have a studio, and is it something that you can just rent on your own? How does that work?
I believe so. Yeah, I think you rent it out for. I think they charge you each day. I'm not sure. My parents are involved with all that. So
you just play guitar. That's all you do. Play guitar and sing. You don't care about the rest of it.
I know some of the stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know. Yeah. So you've been there, but you kind of been through the road. I mean, going to the studio, you kind of got a feel for it. When did this come about with, you said, I want to go in and actually get serious about it? Was it somebody that you knew you could get with and make it work, or how did it all come about?
We toured Sweetwater a few times, and I think it was around New Year, and we were just talking about New Year's resolutions, and an 8-song album was like the top. Like that was like the one that I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Right. I wasn't so sure if it was going to happen or not, but you know, and then it eventually happened. It was awesome.
Well, how long did you start? Well, you've got 8 tunes you're working on or finished, whatever.
Yeah.
How long ago did you start working on them?
Start writing them and stuff, or?
Yeah.
Up Your Sleeve, which will be on the album. I play that one occasionally live. I started working on that one like mid-2023.
Okay.
And I didn't know it was going to be on an album. I just kind of wrote it for it to be an original, because it was like ending of the year, like right before the IBCs of 2024, and I wanted to play an original. And the original I had at the time, I had been playing a lot. I mean, I wanted something newer and more rock. I mean, this song is still definitely a lot of blues influence, but I
Sure.
wanted something more rock and upbeat, and that really, yeah, that really is rock and upbeat. So
Do
yeah, I
you?
played it, and
No, go
people
ahead.
seem.
No, go ahead. Well, I was going to ask you, when you do you have people that you can throw stuff at and they'll give you, not your parents, other musicians you can throw stuff at and say, "What do you think?"
Yeah, I actually have a core band now.
I saw that.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot
and
of
so
things.
you can lay stuff down, well, with your phone or whatever you want to do. Take it to the band and say, "Hey guys, what do you think?"
Yeah, voice memos. I'll play a riff and I'll be like, hey, what do you guys think? What can we do with this? There was a song that's on the album. It's called 50/50, which will also be the title of the album. It started out as an original, and I'm like, hey, or not an original, an instrumental.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like, hey, what do you guys think? And it was a cool song. And immediately we were like, we got to put words to this. Like it just felt like something was missing, and it was the words. Some songs make sense as instrumentals, that one not so much. And once we put words to it, it was like a completely different song. It was cool.
What's it about?
I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't write it about anything.
No, I mean, what's the song about though? 50/50. What does that mean?
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret here. The album is called 50/50 because it's half covers, half originals.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah, so
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You know, one of my favorite artists is Eric Clapton. In fact, the last band I was in, we were started an Eric Clapton tribute band, and I wasn't big on tribute bands because they play the same stuff all the time.
yeah.
But somebody said, one of my band members said, "Hey, we could do Clapton." I said, "Yeah, because he does a lot of covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a
But
blues guy."
cocaine, that's a cover.
Yeah. So I always said, "Well, okay, fine." So, and you do that. And who was I talking to that they were? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. He was a pretty big artist, and they're trying to get more. They're an independent, but they're trying to get more songs of their own out. As you well know, it's hard to go out to play and just play your own stuff. First, you got to have a repertoire of it. That's number one. And number
Yeah.
two, people act after 15 minutes, if they don't like it, they're going to go, "Okay, where's the next band?" Or when you got the standard joke is, "When are you going to play so and so?" You know. But when's Freebird coming? That's the normal joke. I actually
Yeah,
had one of
yeah.
the gigs. One of the gigs I did. I walked off the stage, and he was drunk, and he goes, "Hey, Freebird!" And I'm going like, "Oh my God, people actually do that."
Yeah, well, that happened to me at an acoustic show, and the dude yelled "Freebird," and I told him, "I'm like, I'm not scared of you," so I played the song. I didn't know all the words, so I had Mike, my dad. He came up to the stage and he held his phone out for like the two verses that I didn't know.
Showed it to you. Here it
Yeah,
is.
and then when I knew the rest, I was like, "You're good," and he sat back down. His arm was like getting tired. It was funny.
I that song is really boring. I remember when it came out. Everybody just waits for the end so they can listen to the lead guitar break. That's all they really care about. The rest of it's like it's kind of like I don't
Yeah, it's a cool build up though.
yeah.
I think it's a cool song.
So 50/50. And when did you start going to the studio to record it?
We went like mid July.
So it hasn't
July.
been that long. Hadn't been that long ago.
No.
Okay. And how many times did you have to go to get it all done? I mean, a lot of people do everything in a hurry now. And of course, you're paying for
It's
studio time and all that stuff.
That's like 3 or 4 days to wrap everything.
And how much do you get involved with the final product?
Final product, like
In other words, do you sit there with the people? Hold on. Excuse me. Do you sit there with the master or the engineer and go, "I like this" or "I like that"? Or do you? I should have asked you. Do you have who's the producer? You have a producer working
yeah,
on it?
sound
Okay.
engineer Sean Dealey, and the other guy's name was Jason. They were super cool, but
Yeah, because you need a producer that really knows the biz.
he's awesome. They're both great. Um, That's my cat. This happened last time.
It's all right. My dogs are there. I always get backwards. They're right out here. My wife's.
Yeah.
I have actually one of them standing right there. That's Thor standing
So
there.
he'll send us all the tracks, and I made a ton of notes on everything and just sent them over, and he fixed it. So yeah, I would say I am involved with that process. Yes.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is, I mean, some people, and I've talked to dozens and dozens of musicians. Some people really want to get involved. Other people don't. I just
Yeah.
want to go in and do my thing. I think everybody has an impact on it a little bit, like, oh, I think you should do this or do that. But when it comes to nuances and all that stuff, it takes somebody with some skill to understand. And also, producers are there to make you better. I know it sounds funny, but it's, and not change who you are. Because you got to get people like, what you do. It's like, have you thought about, I remember the guy that I worked on when I cut my first album in the 90s. He was a producer. He was my producer and engineer. And he had such a great way of telling me I could do better. He wouldn't say like, hey, Rick, that sucked. Do you want to do it again? Which is more like what I would do. Like, hey, dude, that sucked. Come on, do it again. He was just very good at it. And I
Yeah.
go, okay, give it another try. Maybe you could do better at that time. But that's what producers do and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, the sound engineer did that a lot. I'd cut a solo, and he'd be like, "That was killer," but I know you got it. You could do that better. So
Yeah. And
it's
it's really, and it's funny to me, and this is what I always did, Danny. On my first album, I wrote all the songs. I had studio people come in. And so when it came to lead breaks, I'm the lead guy. I'm the lead player. So I'd go in the booth and kind of pretend I'm in front of 16,000 people. That's how I do it. Okay,
nice.
16,000 people are watching me, so I better do really good. I know and you can take it again, but I don't like doing a lot of takes when it comes to that stuff. So tell me about the band, the people that played on this album.
So on the record, we have Joe Bass. Played with him all. He's great. He's brilliant.
And what does he
Great
play?
collaborator. What?
What does he play?
Bass guitar.
Oh, okay. Joe plays bass.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, got it. All right. I thought his
On the
last name was
record,
okay. Yeah, go
on the
ahead.
record, we had one of my buddies. His name's Dale Myers. He played the drums on that. He actually has his own project, Otis. He plays drums in there. They're phenomenal. But right now, I started with this core band, and our drummer Jenna, she's just great. So
Well, it's all about, as you already figured out, even though you haven't been playing that many years, it's all about camaraderie and how to get along with everybody else. You know, and especially when you're in the studio because you're burning money and you don't want to be spending a lot of time arguing about stuff, which people don't really, but
yeah,
uh,
we had a lot of rehearsals before studio time.
yeah. So then, yeah,
So we're not going into the studio and being like, okay, so what do we do here? So we had a lot of backup plans.
that's smart.
Yeah.
And because then you get in there and well, we didn't work on that. You're like, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Um, well, now that you've finished it, what are you going to do with it? I mean, other than put it out so everybody can listen to it.
Yeah, of course. Promotion goes all the way. So do a lot of that. Release a couple singles. I have a single coming out October 1st, plus a music video. So that's
Oh,
really
you have a
exciting.
video. That's right. You did tell me that, I think. What's the name of
Yeah,
the tune? Is that the one you sent me?
yeah. Two wrongs. It's titled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out October 1st.
Are you excited?
Very excited. Yeah. I mean, if you would have told me last year that I was even doing it, cutting an album or even filming a music video, I wouldn't believe you.
So what do so let me ask you this. What changed, do you think, from a year ago to today that you feel confident to go in and do an album?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, what changed? You said a year ago, if you told me that I was going to be recording an album, I would have never believed you. So what changed in your playing or your life
Oh,
that said, okay, now I'm ready to do this?
I think one of the key things is playing with feeling rather than playing a million notes because Technique is everything, of course, but when it comes
Sure.
to the genres that I play, a lot of times people are more interested in letting the notes breathe. I think that was one of the biggest things I learned over the course of this year was letting things breathe, especially
Yeah.
like sometimes like I'll go straight into the vocals and I won't, but a lot of the phrasing that I do, I try to let it breathe as much as I can. And then as the song kind of progresses, I go into more notes. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that I learned.
You're maturing in more ways than you think because that's one of the things. Of course, in the blues genre, what we refer to as space in the song is what makes blues so good. If you're
People love it.
really,
You could play one note and people they just love it.
yeah. I mean, it's all about what you feel. And then the other thing too, unfortunately, some of it comes through life as your life gets things happen to you. You know, when I wrote my first album, I told everybody, I said, I grew up in a middle class family. I didn't grow up in Mississippi. I wasn't
Yeah,
chopping cotton. I wasn't playing at juke joints. So I'm writing a blues song. I had no pain in my life.
yeah. Well, to me, of course if you go through things like that, of course you can feel it through the music. But I think at times I think you don't have to go through something in order to feel the blues. It's
No,
just
I agree with that
yeah, it's
to a
just
certain point.
something. It's something you feel, and I mean, not that I have a problem with it. It's just a lot of people are like, "How are you so young and you can't be feeling the blues?" I mean, you don't have to go through something necessarily to feel. It's just a raw feeling.
I don't think people understand that unless you play an instrument. I don't think that's
Exactly. Yeah.
you can't explain it. And all the years that I've watched American Idol, and I've seen a lot of them, I used to tell my wife, "Oh, they're supposed to do this at this time. I'm supposed to look this way." In other words, it wasn't natural. In other words, hey, get a pained look on your face. Oh, because that's the way they were told. When you become a player, you don't need to get told. You just do what you're supposed to do.
And there,
And
of course, there's things that you need to know and you should do, but at the end of the day, I love it when things are genuine and just straight from here. I mean, there's you have to think about some stuff, but more from here than from here.
yeah, because if you overthink it, then you're not going to do
Yep, exactly.
it. Excuse me. I think that's just it.
And I think when I think too much on stage, I think that's the worst I play. Yeah, for sure.
and you know what's interesting too about people that play lead guitar and instruments, they actually tend to be. I know it seems a little funny, but smarter in certain areas because your brain works differently.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
there's
when
stuff.
you start playing and you're playing a lead break, you know where you're going to go, but after a while, you just kind of, oh, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go there, and this is what's going
It's
to
funny.
happen.
Like my mom will be like, he can learn a crazy guitar solo, but he can't unscrew a light bulb. You know. I mean, maybe that's true. Maybe I don't know how to unscrew a light bulb. Can't be that hard.
Well, you don't get paid to unscrew a light bulb. You get paid to play guitar. That's
Did that, mom?
So tell me, so you've been lucky enough um, to be able to get on stage with a great buddy guy
Oh yeah, twice.
twice.
Really, yeah.
How did that the second time? Did you have a different feeling about it? I mean, the first time you were probably I always wondered because you're getting up there with an iconic player. And if I was doing it, I would do the same thing. I've been playing 50 years. I'd do the same thing. I'd be going like, why am I standing up here next to him? I mean, what am I going to do? I'm just going to play my little ditty here,
Yeah.
and but
I
this
think it was different the second time around because the venue and last time
was
Kingfish was
that in
there.
Nashville? Was that in Nashville?
Both venues were in Nashville. I can't remember what the venue was called. Something along the lines of Nashville Symphony or something.
Yeah,
But it wasn't the Ryman.
yeah,
So I think the being at the Ryman has a lot to do with it.
yeah.
A lot of people will say Danny Garwood played with Buddy Guy at the Ryman. Like the Ryman is a big part of that. Like
Oh, sure.
that's my to not only play with Buddy Guy, but for it to be at the Ryman, that's just crazy.
And it's not very big either. That place is
No,
not that big.
it's just a cool venue and it has a lot of history and it's very popular.
And the fact is that he brought you up on stage. And you know, the one thing I know about it is most people, they don't bring you on stage unless they think you know how to play. I mean, there's things you can watch on YouTube, and we've all seen them where so-and-so got up. You only see the ones that are really good. You know, you don't see the ones, can I come up on stage? And they start screaming or yelling, and they're like, okay, thank you, get off the stage. You only see the ones that come up and they blow people's minds away.
Yeah. I mean, both times were just amazing. I was Buddy Guy, you're going to be nervous, but the moment I stepped out onto the stage with everybody, I think not a thought was in my mind. I just played. And then I got off, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know? That's why you just don't think on stage. I mean, of course, there's things you need to think about, like don't trip on this chord, you know?
Well, was Kingfish at one of those?
He was at the Ryman the first time I played with Buddy.
Okay, I thought he was.
Yeah, he's cool. He's really cool.
So then you know, what do you tell people? You know, all right, so let's talk about your friends. Because you're in a music industry that a lot of people in your age group don't know anything about. They probably don't know anything about it. I mean, your friends probably do now from being around you. But when you talk about and this happens to me all the time because I interview people in different genres, and the one thing I've learned is I can mention Buddy Guy to people in a group of people, and they go, I don't know who that is. Yeah. But then if I get with people that are blues people, oh my God, you talked to Buddy, whoever, you know, whatever it is. Same with country music. You know, if I'm interviewing so and so. But I you know, the thing about it is, I mean, what I was going to ask you is this. So what do your friends say?
I don't really talk about it with my friends. They don't really say much about it. There's a few kids that make jokes like, "Oh, that's the Danny Garwood," stuff like that. It's funny, but like I have a main group of friends that I hang out with and don't really talk about it.
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that. And the funny thing about it is, the ones that make fun of you when you're famous, they'll be the ones going, "Hey, remember me? I was in high school with you," and you're going, "Who?"
No, don't get me wrong. The kids that are like, "Oh my gosh, is that really Danny?" It's funny. They're cool. It's fine.
So do you plan? I know you got in school and all that stuff. Do you have? You're going to support their album some, but I notice that occasionally you go out of town. There's not. Yeah. Is there many places you can play? I know you told me before that there's like one main blues club there, but are you going to have to go outside of Nashville to go out and support it, or is there enough places that you can play?
Support the album?
Yeah.
I think there's enough places that I can play around here.
And how does that? I've always wondered too about you and some of the other people I interview that are younger. How do people react when you go in, or whoever goes in and says, "I got a group of guys and kids, well, not kids, you know, teens, they want to come in here." Do you? I mean, you can play some stuff for them. Of course, now you have recording that'll help. Is that hard to get a gig? I guess is what I'm asking.
I mean, if the venue's 21 and over, yeah, I think that's a problem. But I mean, we do venue reach outs occasionally. Sometimes they don't get back to us, and sometimes they do. So it really depends.
And you know, it only takes one break. I mean,
I think sometimes it is hard to land a gig, but fortunately, I actually signed with a management company.
Oh, cool.
Media Force. Steve Hill is his name. Super cool, but yeah, just can't believe it. But he's definitely helping us get more gigs for sure.
You know, and the great thing,
he was how we landed the gig at Slippery Noodle.
Oh, really?
That was through him, yeah.
And the thing about it is, you'll only get better. The more you play out live, the better you get. That's just the way it is. And going to the studio is fun. I like doing it, like recording. But playing out is where the action is, obviously, because you can't screw up. Or if you do, people don't know you're screwing up. So You
Of
focus,
course, they're gonna know. She's like, "Oh, I totally messed up on that one note."
and
You
people
know,
don't usually know it.
unless they're a guitar player, but that's rare.
Yeah, most of the time. And it doesn't matter what quality of player you are. It's the same thing for everybody. And I had somebody tell me this years ago. You play the hard stuff for yourself and the easy stuff for the people in the crowd. Because a C chord to them doesn't mean anything. You know, if you're an A7th augmented where you go, oh my God, that's a hard chord to play, they just go, okay. It's just like anything else. You know, so to them, it's the easy stuff. And that's why blues, being normally 3 chords, sometimes 4, is why people like it so much. I think that's a lot. And because when you get down to the nitty-gritty of the blues genre, there's some great players out there, and Buddy's one of the last of the greats. When you think about it, pretty much everybody's doing the same thing. They just have different ways of styles of doing it. I guess you could say that about any music, but I always thought it was interesting that you always kind of went the blues route, you know, because of the music you like. Who was, I know I've asked you this before, excuse me, who was the first person that, and still you listened to when you were younger and said, oh, I love that music? Was it a song or an album or something you heard that you said, oh, where was it? Where is it?
Or
Yeah,
just
blues-wise. I'm sorry?
I said blues-wise or like in general, but
No, blues-wise.
John Lee Hooker, Boom Boom. Heard it in the Blues Brothers movie, and it was like, whoa.
That's right. I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
And I played this song at my parents' wedding. First time, say no over and over again, and I'll play it right now. Here. It was, all I played was this. I played that like for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, but that just was like, I mean, of course, his is a little more, upbeat than that.
Yeah.
But I was like, whoa, like that's cool. I wasn't like super into blues when I first started out. I was like Guns N' Roses, Kiss and all that. And
Yeah.
I think my dad showed me some Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I was like, okay, whoa. And I learned Voodoo Child, and I started playing at more jams more often. And I think ever since that, I think my interest in the blues just has gone up and up and up and more. And now it's to where it's at now. So yeah.
If you studied Jimmy, like he was a great blues player too. So what's next for you? Come out, do the album, tell people to go to Spotify or their favorite online source.
We have a little mini tour coming up. We have 6 or 7 shows lined up. Yeah.
Cool.
We'll be in Wisconsin, and we have
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's what's next.
You're going on the road. What's cool for you, though? You just get to sit in the back and ride.
Sorry, Mom. No, our drummer, Jenna, is just amazing, and she got us pretty much all of those shows.
So it'd be remiss of me if I didn't mention the fact that you have a big date coming up tomorrow.
What?
Have you got your car picked out? What are you going to be driving?
Oh, I don't even have my permit yet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But my birthday is tomorrow, and I will be 16.
I know. Sweet 16, brother. Bringing out a first album, bringing out some cool tunes. I got to tell you something. I know what's going to happen to you. I predict all the time, and I'm really good at this. You'll only get better and better. You'll become more people want to hear you. The bad thing is, or the good thing, depending on where your voice will change, so you won't sound like you're 16. You'll sound like you get older. You'll go and 5 or 6, 10 years from now, you'll put this album on and tell people, don't listen to it, just listen to my guitar playing, because I sound like I'm a kid. And I'm just telling you, I know, I've been through it myself. But the cool thing about it is your guitar playing is exceptional already. And I think that's the one thing that the more people hear it, and I can see you, I can see you going and on festivals and all that stuff, Danny. You may be down at the bottom, but you'll keep working up. Eventually, you'll be up here at the top of the headlining stuff. And you get used to... All right, so I was going to ask you this. Have you started writing autographs yet? Have you got autographs already figured out?
I got a signature, yeah. But I mean, occasionally at merch tables, people will be like, "Oh, can you sign my shirt?" And I have an 8-year-old and stuff like that.
Always
like, I need your autograph so I can like say I knew him when, and they'll get out like a receipt or something.
How does that make you feel?
Makes you feel good, yeah. But I'm like, really? They want my autograph? Like,
it's kind of weird, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, why?
Yeah.
I played a 4-hour set at a bar. You want my autograph? You know?
Yeah, and it's funny too because one day when you are well known and famous, that was the one thing that you probably heard. Well, I don't know if it was on the interview that I think it was on Connor because I talked to him quite some time with Buddy Guy.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that. That was cool.
I said, how does he approach people? When people approach him, I mean, he's iconic. People want his autograph, and unfortunately, what a lot of people want their autographs is to sell it. They don't want it to keep. They just want to be able to, I'll put it on eBay. Here's Buddy Guys. I'll make $50 or $100 or $500 off of it. And he was very clear about how they did it. And you'll get to that point. People come up to you, "Hey, excuse me, are you Danny Garwood?" "Yes." "Oh no, it's another person wants my autograph." And then your mom will say, "Danny, don't forget, they're the ones that made you famous." All I get to say is the same thing I saw. You know her, Kiersey Jolie. You know Kiersey.
Yeah.
She just won a song contest down in Florida. I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everybody like you. Enjoy the ride. That's all I can tell you. Because you're on the bus now. Bus is starting to leave the station. And you sometime there may be a moment, and it'll be down the road, that you realize that the moment when the crowd is into you so much that you're the only thing they're looking at. And like with 5,000 or 10,000 people. And that's when you'll realize that moment, it'll come. And you'll go, wow, I had no idea. That's why I say enjoy the ride. Because it is. It's a fun ride. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I'm not your parent, but I've known you for a while. I'm very proud of you. I'm glad that you're doing well. I want you to keep doing well because I want your autograph one day.
Hey, we have some pictures together, so.
That's right. I could just take him out and go, here he is. Who's that kid next to you? He's like 30 now. I know. What are you? You're like 90 years old now, dude. What are you talking about? So the last thing I want to ask you, how's the merch sales doing?
Pretty well, yeah. It actually does really well. My mom and dad are in charge of that, but
of course they are.
Yeah, from what I've seen and what I've heard, it does well.
I don't want to keep anymore. I just wanted to. I'm glad you're bringing out the new single and all that stuff. Yeah. I think that you'll do real well. And by the way, happy birthday! Enjoy your birthday. Have a good night. Gotta go.
You too, man.
All right, see you. Take care.
Don't say
Well, that's it for this episode of The Trout Show. Thanks so much for stopping by and listening. Very big special thank you to Mr. Danny Garwood for coming on and talking about his release of his new singer on his album and talking a little bit about his career as he's growing and growing and growing. For more information about Danny, if you want to know more about him, you can go to his website, DannyGuitarwoodGarwood.com. Everything's right there for you to find out about him. And also remember, you can always find more information about The Trout Show by visiting our website at thetroutshow.com. Everything's also there, including links to other podcasts, videos from our YouTube channel, and upcoming music if I get ready to release it. So that's at thetroutshow.com. And so till next time, people, you know what I always say. It's only rock and roll, but I love it. See ya.